Yes, and I got to leave again in like 24 hours.
Where are you headed to?
Cincinnati.
When you coming back?
Yay.
When you come back to Colorado?
Uh, I am there. I'm doing like all the ski resorts starting December.
Ooh, maybe I'll take
I
my
have,
wife away.
I have Aspen, Steamboat, Vail, um, Keystone. I forget where else I'm performing.
Yeah, all the cool spots. Well, anyway, Greg Glassman on today's episode. Very, actually, I didn't even see Greg Glassman at the CrossFit Games. I heard he was there, but I did not see him.
Yeah, I think they brought him up for the hopper.
Oh, did they? Did they actually like?
They actually brought out the hopper. Yeah, so they did the original like hopper event at the ranch, and then they like brought the hopper out to the games and did a new hopper event where they pulled out a couple movements.
Well, Eddie Ifft, world famous comedian. Yeah, that's true. And then performing at AffiliateCon the weekend of October. So Saturday, October 16th, Eddie will be there. I'm working on it, Eddie. I don't want to let you down. You are my coach.
The good thing about you bombing, Jay, is either your performance is gonna be funny or it's gonna be so bad it's gonna be funny.
No, it won't be. I've seen guys bomb really bad, and I really enjoy it. I love to watch. Comedians love nothing more than to watch somebody bomb, and I can tell you he's not going to bomb.
Oh, thank you.
So it's no, because that's really fun. That's awesome. Did you guys see the White House Correspondents' Dinner? That was awesome.
Who bombed on that?
Trump.
Oh.
I've never seen anybody bomb that badly in my whole life. I've been doing comedy for 29 years. That was the best bomb I've ever seen.
Well, I'm sure there was no admission of bombing.
I had his jokes beforehand because my friend wrote all his jokes.
Yeah.
And he sent them to me for me to like look over. And, we do that with each other, like help each other out. And I was like, I saw them the first Correspondents' Dinner that was stopped because Trump was afraid of bombing at that one. So he had a guy come in and pretend to be a shooter. And then the second time I saw the jokes, and the first time they were bad. Like I was like, dude, did you write these today? Like, did you have ChatGPT write these? Then the second time he sent them, I was like, wow, these are great. And I'm like, these are great. Like, he might actually do well. And then I started watching going, what is he doing? Like, he won't. Jokes have a setup and a punchline.
Yeah.
He would do the setup, and then he would go on a tangent that he would make up on his own. And then he would do the punchline and be like, who writes this stuff? This is terrible. And I was like, well, no, it's the delivery is so bad. All you have to do is read the joke off the teleprompter.
You know what this reminds Christian? This reminds me of
every time we ask you to do something. That's what it reminds me of.
That, and then like you'll have a new coach who's like, hey, I know you have a progression, but I've got my own thing. And it's probably better. I'm like, you think it's better than the one we've been using for 20 years?
When people go to the level 2 and teach something other than the push press progression.
Yeah, exactly. So can we tell a little bit of the Eddie Ifft story?
Sure.
Because I'm curious. I'm going to ask you some questions that I'm not sure. So
real quick, Eddie, try switching your mic to your computer.
Okay.
Please. Yeah, I know we were going back and forth. Try that.
Well, we can't tell unless he talks, right?
Wait, I'm trying. Is it better?
I think so.
Sounds good to me, yeah.
This won't turn on.
It just sounded like you were yelling into your microphone.
He's a yeller. He yells a lot.
Is that better?
I think so. I think so.
Oh.
You sound fine to me.
Okay.
I don't know. It's cool. We'll roll with it either way.
Born in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, I was born in the dull city. It's not a dull city. It's a really great city, but to me now, it's dull. But I grew up in Pittsburgh.
Awesome, yeah. And then 18 years. Did you stay there through childhood?
I stayed there through college.
Where'd you go?
I went to the University of Pittsburgh.
Oh, my cousin went there. Yeah.
Is that Phil?
Phil, yes.
No, I remember Phil.
He became a physical
Used to
therapist.
used to pee himself all the time,
Still
Phil.
does. He still
We
does.
remember him.
Still pees himself all the time. So, and then when did you? Well, what was your first comedic influence? What was the first thing you saw? Richard Pryor on HBO type of thing, where you're like, I want to do this.
My dad used to play tapes of comedy to me in the car. Tapes, cassette tapes. I'm not that old. It wasn't like Beta or what were the
Yeah.
tapes before?
I know what you're talking
Before
about. I think it's
cassettes?
Beta, yeah, or
No,
like
there was something before cassettes.
the
It was
big
like
one,
eight track,
eight
eight
track,
track,
yeah,
eight
eight
track.
track, yeah. Christian,
No, my
answer
dad
you.
used to play these cassette tapes of like stuff that he found funny as a kid, like Amos and Andy and all this racist stuff. And I just liked comedy. And then my sister, I used to go in her room and she had albums, vinyls. She had one of my sisters had like Lily Tomlin and Joan Rivers and Richard Pryor and Bill Cosby, and I would listen to them and Cheech and Chong and which is really funny because there's such identity politics in comedy now about like, oh, there's not enough women in comedy and there's not enough, people of color and it's white males and I'm like, it's always been white males and I'm like, really? Because when I started, I listened to like an Asian guy, a couple black guys, two women, and Steve Martin, who we don't know what he was. And and the funny thing about that is I never once cared about their race or sex. I was like, are they funny? And I just find that really funny that those were my influences as a child, and I could care less about if they were white men. It's like, I only want to listen to white men.
I love that about comedy, and for the same reason, like I love that about CrossFit. Like they're both just like great equalizers, where it's like either you did it or you didn't, and like nobody else cares.
Yeah, I love that about CrossFit too, about how good the women are. Because when I hear like, and look, I just want to let everybody know right off the bat, I'm apolitical. So if you want to come at me and find a reason, you can't because I don't care. But what I love is when I hear like seriously right wing guys trying to put down women, like they're not qualified to do like fireman competitions or fireman the standards, or they're not this or the military. And I'm like, yeah, I'll line up a bunch of chicks that I know that will kill you in everything. I tried to go up against the 60-year-old women once and do 60 plus. This was like 10 years ago, and try to do like beat them in the CrossFit games and in the open. And I got them in one event. And then it was like the first week, or no, it wasn't even the first week I got like wiped. They like beat the crap out of me. And then like it was like week 4 or something, there was a event that I got into with involving squats that you kept getting to higher weight. If you got through this one, you went to higher weight. And that was the only one that I did well because I got to this weight but otherwise the 60 plus women just smoked me. And I was like 40 at the time. And I was like, geez, like, go ahead, try to say, men are so much better than women.
Well, they're getting fitter too. I didn't get to see.
I know it's insane. It's just wrong.
So when when you graduated from Pitt, when did you go out west?
Well, before that, I mean, like I did comedy. Well, I didn't do comedy in high school or college, but I was like a total troublemaker and but I ran track in college, and I love to mention that all the time. It was a big joke in the wadcast that I would always throw that in. But it was a big part of my life. And
what did you run? What was your skill?
I was a shot putter.
Oh, really? Oh,
No, I ran the 110 meter high hurdles, and
so 110 meter with hurdles.
Yeah, and the 60 indoor, which I just mentioned to somebody the other day. That event lasts like 7 seconds or.
There's a 60 meter race
indoors. Yeah,
only
it's got
indoors?
hurdles, and sometimes I would go to the meets, fly there, and then get knocked out in the prelims. And I would have to sit in a hotel room all weekend after I ran 6 seconds.
So at what point, that's interesting. I don't know a lot about track, but at what point do you become like a hurdler? Are they like, hey, you're fast, but not fast enough? But I think, yeah.
Some people say it's the most athletic event in track and field.
Who, you say that?
Yes. Those people are the same people that say you can't swim after you've eaten. You got to wait a half hour. Nobody knows who they are. But they say don't run with scissors.
Yeah.
That's kind of it. Like I was fast, but not fast enough. But like also a lot of people can't do it. Like I coach track now, and it's so weird for people. And
you have to get in like a really specific rhythm, right?
It's all rhythm. It's all rhythm.
And if you miss one, do you like then how many are there like 10 in a race?
Oh, you're done. You miss one, it's over.
Because you're out of rhythm, like you can't get back in.
Yeah. I mean, they're also running it in 12 seconds now.
It's a little like sex. Like, oh, I'm out of rhythm, honey. It's over.
Yeah, you come out and miss on the way back in. I know a guy who broke his ding dong doing that once. I've heard broke
stories of this, but I've never experienced that. We've all caught it funny, right, Christian? But never.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So
this dude went to the hospital. Like he broke it. I think he fell on the floor though, or something, and it made it worse.
I'm never like at risk of falling on the floor while having sex with my wife. It's like,
if you were, you're not very far from the floor, so
exactly.
We did a whole episode of Wadcast once of penis injuries.
Yes.
And it was a pretty interesting episode. Armin Hammer like crushed his during a snatch once, like just like caught it and had to go to like the hospital.
You ever do bar rollovers?
What are bar rollovers?
Did you see the event this year at the games where you literally like do a 360 on the bar? So like this year at the games they did forward rolls and reverse rolls with the rings, but it's the same with a pull-up bar.
You're talking like on a pull-up bar, not a bar.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I thought you meant rolling a barbell over you while you lay on your back. I was like, that's not gonna hit me. Don't worry.
No.
You know, it's funny though.
It's going all the way through. It's not getting stopped.
I did that once and it hurt. I was like, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah. Lesson learned. So when did you, because I know you're out west now, when did you make the move to the West Coast in your career?
That was, I mean, I did comedy in New York for 10 years.
Oh, you did 10 years first.
10 years in New York City, yeah.
What year did you start?
97 or 6 I started in Pittsburgh at the Funny Bone. I was there for about 9 months, and I met a comedian named Louis Black, who came through headlining, and he was like, "What are you doing in Pittsburgh?" And I was like, "I'm a huge star. I'm on WDVE, which is like the local radio station." And he was like, "You need to get out of here." And I was like, "Why?" He's like, "There's a whole world out there, dude." He's like, "Go to New York or LA." So I called my sister, who worked with actors and actresses in LA, and I'm like, "I'm coming to LA. I'm going to be a big star." And she's like, "No, you're not." She's like, "Do not come here. You are not ready." And I was like, "I'm ready. I've been doing comedy 9 months." And she was like, "No, you're not." And I was like, "Well, what do I do?" She's like, "Go to New York." So I moved to New York, and I was there for 10 years.
Manhattan? Did you live in Manhattan?
Yeah, I lived right in Manhattan. First year I lived with like a whole bunch of my like high school friends. That it was like a frat house of like investment bankers.
Yeah, like we have enough money to now do good drugs type of thing.
Yeah, well, they were all making good money, and I was living in the hallway, and I was literally like taking Greyhound buses to Maysville, Kentucky, to make $100, and so I would do gigs all the time, and I would do like odd jobs, and do stand up every night. Because I had to work during the day so I could do stand-up at night. So I was like temping and waiting tables and doing everything and going on acting auditions all the time. So
I saw you tried out for SNL, right?
Yeah, I did that probably about 3 years into comedy too. I was very early.
How many times did you try out?
Just one time, and I think they usually told you that you had like one shot. And I remember the assistant casting director to Marcy Klein called me and said, I don't think you should audition. And I was like, what? She's like, well, they like you, but they look for a type. And she's like, I really like you. And she's like, there's a type that we go for, and your type is already filled out. Like there's a Jimmy Fallon was there the year before I auditioned.
Oh, like they have like boxes, and they're like, these are the boxes we want to check, and somebody already filled that box.
And they're obsessed with this guy. And so she's like, you're coming in, and they're just going to be like, nah, we have that guy. So she said, you might want to wait a little. And so in my head, I was thinking like, he could be there for 20 years. You know, Tim Meadows was there Tim Meadows is still there, I think. And so I was like, no way, I'm auditioning. And I just remember it was horrendous. Like, you know, I was doing impressions of people they'd never heard of.
What are some of your, like, I know, like, in anything in life, you look back on the toughest times and you think those are the best times. What are some of the memories you have of that time that you would never want to do again, but you look back fondly?
I was just going to say the worst times were, I don't look back fondly at all. The worst times were when, like, I had a lot going on at one point and it all got canceled. Like I literally, I had a development deal for my own sitcom. I was on a show on VH1. I sold a pilot to FX. I sold a pilot or show to FX, and I was in Seinfeld's movie, Comedian, and all at once they all got canceled, and I got cut from Seinfeld's movie. And it happened like every week I'd get a call from my agent going like, I had bad news. And I was like, really? Again? And I started to think I was in a reality show and they were filming me. And like, I'm like, oh, they're just fucking with me. At the end, they're going to go, we're joking. And, but like the struggle coming up doing comedy was really hard. Like really, 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 really hard. But I did love it. And I loved stand-up so much that that's what kept me doing it. Otherwise, because it was awful. I mean, I wasn't joking about taking Greyhound buses to go make like $100 for a whole weekend. And just like the open mics every night in New York City and just riding the subway going from one to the other, to the other, to the other all night long. And I used to collect we would throw parties at our apartment, and I would collect the bottles the next day and take them to the store to get the deposit. You know, they'd give you like 5 cents a bottle, and that's how I'd buy lunch the next day. I'd go get like a piece of pizza and a bottle of water, and that would be my lunch. So, thanks to the party the night before.
Well, when's the moment you were like, okay, it's happening?
I went to a friend's house who was living with a casting director. He's like, I'm going to introduce you to somebody in the business. I'm going to help you out. I went and saw this girl, and I just had my headshots taken by the guy who did, no joke, the employee of the month at McDonald's. Like I had my headshots taken by what I thought was like this hot photographer. And like the next day I'm in McDonald's and I look up at the employee of the month. It says photos by Tim Kriegsman. And I'm like, I'm like, that's who did my photos. So
you see him in the back, like hitting the fries too.
Yeah. Like I was just
behind
like
the counter.
I was like, I'm going to make it someday. I'm going to be the employee of the month. So I took my proofs of my photos. This is before like the internet, you know, they'd use the little glass thing to look at each picture. And she was like going to help me pick my pictures. And she goes, you know what? Call me on Monday. I might have something for you, an audition. And I was like, an audition? I'd never been to an audition. I bullshitted my way. I pretended like I knew. And so she sent me on this audition, and they called me. They're like, you booked it. I'm like, what? They're like, you booked it. And they're like, this is a big deal. Like everyone auditioned for this and you got it. and it was to be the host of Shark Week. And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And they're like, "Yeah, you're gonna get." They told me the money, and I was like, "Oh my God, I don't have to collect bottles anymore." And it was way too early. Like no one who I'd only been doing stand up for like a year and a half, and it gave me
Including the 9 months you were in Pittsburgh?
yeah. And so
That's crazy.
yeah, and then I had won a contest at Caroline's Comedy Club, which was the top premier club in uh, in New York, and they like then started booking me, and I thought the booker really liked me, and it turned out he was just gay, and so
So he did really like you, but
yeah, he
not
did,
really.
yeah, and and I was like, oh, I'm really good, and then he was like, let me take my pants off, and it was yeah, so I was all of a sudden like running before I could walk, and it wasn't good because it started coming really quickly then, and I had no skill at all, and so other comedians hated me.
Because you were just rising up without the skill and they were busting their butt?
Absolutely. And it was harder back then. Like that happens a lot now because of the internet. Like it's like kind of like a real meritocracy, but back then there was like a pecking order, and I was jumping the order, and every guy was like, and there was these old guys that were really funny, and they'd be making fun of me, and I'd be like, yeah, you want to compare bank accounts? And they were like, I'm gonna kill you.
You were just like the hot young comic at the right time, though, right? Like 2000.
Yeah, until Nick Swartzen showed up, and then everyone forgot about me.
So what was the peak of your New York time?
I'd say, well, 2001, I went to Montreal, which is the Montreal Comedy Festival, and they have this thing called New Faces. All the best comedians, all the top. They pick like 10 comedians in the world and bring them to this thing, and all of Hollywood comes to see them. Like everyone, every talent scout from Paramount, Universal, NBC, CBS, ABC. I mean, and you perform for a room full of them twice. And every star in the world is at the festival, but everybody talks about New Faces. That's like, because the stars have already made it, and everybody's like, here, it's like the Olympics of comedy. And so it's full of pressure. And my class, like you call it your Montreal class. My own Montreal class was like me, Kevin Hart, Dimitri Martin. Everybody now is like a huge star. They all look at me like, what happened? Why? What happened to you? But they're all massively, massively successful. And that was a pretty intense experience. Like, like you either made it or ruined your career. And so I bombed really badly.
And that's why you're going to be at Affiliate Con?
Oh, so excited.
Kevin Hart's making movies, and you're like, I guess I'm going to go make some CrossFitters laugh.
Well, you wanted to, it's funny. I have never talked about this, but I can tell you why Kevin made it and I didn't become like Kevin. And that is, I ended up weirdly getting a development deal for a sitcom out of that festival. Because my manager was really smart. He sent my tape to all these executives that weren't going to be there. He'd have his assistant call people all day long, like, you going to Montreal? You going to Montreal? If they said no, he's like, let me send you a tape of my client. And because he's going to come out to Hollywood afterwards to meet with everybody. That's what you do. You go that on these general meetings. So he sent the tape, and he said to me, he goes, the tape doesn't bomb. You kill in the tape. So I did bomb at the festival, but when I went to meetings, it was funny. Most of the people I met with weren't at the festival. And I met with this guy, Glenn Padnick, who made Seinfeld, and he's like, I love you. I love your whole story. I love your whole life. He's like, we're gonna make a sitcom. And he's like, I made Seinfeld. He's like, I'm gonna make you. And I'm like, what? And he's like, I don't have any money, so I'm gonna take you over to Warner Brothers to this guy, Lowell Mate, and we're gonna co-produce. And so I went to this guy, Lowell Mate, and he's like, I made Ray Romano's show. And he's like, so I've got Everybody Loves Raymond and Seinfeld. And these guys are my producers. And I was like, oh my God, like this is, and then the show never got picked up. It got like canceled midway through, like writing everything. And I heard Kevin Hart on a podcast, and he had the same story. They called him, and they're like, it's over. And when they told me it was over, I like got in the fetal position. Kevin was like, whoa, what do we do now? And they're like, we don't. Pilot season's over. You know, you got to wait till next year, blah, blah, blah. It's pretty tough now because, you know, once you get canned in Hollywood, no one wants to touch you then for a while. And Kevin's like, no, let's get another one. And they're like, it doesn't work that way. And Kevin's like, make it work that way. And Kevin's like, let's get going tomorrow. Find someone new. Find someone. We need a new writer. We need a new producer. Let's go. Let's go. Where I was like, it's over. I suck. And I think I went to England for a while and started performing over there.
So the rule is just keep going, no matter what they're telling you.
Yeah.
I just actually started his new movie last night, but I fell asleep.
Which movie?
Kevin Hart has a new one on Netflix. Who's your favorite right now?
My Mount Rushmore of comedy is a guy named Dave Attell.
Yep.
Brian Regan.
Yep.
Doug Stanhope.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris Rock.
Unique Mount Rushmore, just like as far as variety goes.
Yeah, I like something different about each one of them. And like Stanhope's the most insightful. He takes a perspective no one else takes. Rock is like the greatest combination of performer and joke writer. And Attell is like just the best. I'd put Dave number one.
Really?
And then Regan is so clean and so funny, and it's just like how he does that is unbelievable.
He's one of the first comedians I saw live. I was dating a girl at the time, and she was just obsessed with Brian Regan. And so every time he'd come to Albany, New York, we'd go see him, and I was like, oh, he's so funny.
Yeah, I've always been a huge Regan fan, and one time I was performing in Reno, and they called me, or the management of the club goes, hey, Brian Regan called. I was like, yeah, I was thinking he's going to pop in and do a set. And because that's what happens a lot. And they're like, do you mind like stepping aside? Because he's, you know, a huge celebrity. And they go, he wants to come watch your show. And I was like, why? And they're like, I don't know. He's in town. He just did a show and he wants to come watch. And I was like, okay. So I went on and I could see down the aisle, the front aisle, I could see him in the very back sitting there. And it was making me so nervous. And I was like flubbing jokes. And after the show, he asked to get a drink with me. And I was like, why are you here? And he's like, I don't know. He's like, I always wanted to see you. And he's like, I heard about you and I just wanted to see your show. And I was like, okay. And he was the nicest guy. Not only is he the best comedian, he's one of the nicest guys in the whole world. And it was like an honor. The fact that he would sit and watch me was incredible. Like I was blown away by that.
What's your favorite Brian Regan bit? You know, he's Christian. Have you seen him?
Peanut butter jelly in a jar.
Yeah, he like the audience. He'll like come out and just do requests.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, like
peanut butter and jelly in a jar. How lazy do you have to be? Can't use 2 spoons. Can't use too much. Just gotta have 1 spoon.
That's exactly what it sounds like. Or there's Pop-Tart. Like his Pop-Tart bit was my favorite.
I like that. I also like the eye test. The eye test when he's going. I feel like he's like, is it better like this, or is it better like this? I don't know. Can't.
So you had me watch that Gary Goldman, The Great Depression. That was so good. So Christian, Eddie told me to watch a this guy Gary Goldman, who's just a big tall Jew, who clearly I was aware. Like I was actually like, oh, depression, like he like had it.
Oh yeah, I know a number of comedians that have it, and if you think you have depression, you don't have depression. So these guys go to like Japan to get like lobotomies.
He had electroshock therapy. He was saying,
yeah, I know a few guys that have done that, and I also the business is rife with depression. I know I've lost a bunch of friends, suicide, and famous comedians, and it's sad. But Gary had it really, really bad, and we're talking about a guy who was a Division I football player, played for Boston College. That you just don't think like super good looking guy, like he's tall, like you just think this guy's got it. I remember when he first moved to New York from Boston, I was like, oh fuck this guy, like he's so good looking, Division I athlete. Like you don't need comedy. Right. Like, what are you doing here? This is for us. And then he was funny too. He's very observational and funny. And then I didn't hear from him for a while, and I was like, oh, that's a guy who fell off and didn't become successful. And then all of a sudden, he came on like gangbusters, and he was just so good, so good.
So when you told me to watch that, what are you looking for in a special like that?
Well, he's thematic. I was telling you how he basically like did an autobiography, and was so honest about his life, and found the funny in every aspect of his life, which is how do you make depression funny? He did it, So I think when stuff's really personal and authentic is when it's funniest.
Yeah, it was so good. And I was like immediately like, now I want to watch all of his specials.
Yeah.
You would like it, Christian. Like I think it'd be right. Same with Brian Regan, Christian. Like that's right up your alley. Who's like in the moment, Eddie, who's a comic that's you're finding funny that's newer to you that you didn't know coming up?
I worked with a kid this weekend in Las Vegas that was really good. Ryan Goodcase had really good jokes, really well written jokes, and then
if he's getting a shout out on the Best Hour podcast, he's about to make it.
Oh, his life's about to change.
This is his launch pad. He just got a shout out.
That would be hilarious. That'd be hilarious if he's like, when it all started.
Eddie's shouted. When you say he writes good jokes, what does that mean to a good comic?
You can tell that it was a couple things. One, you can tell the wording is very efficacious. Like they eliminate any unnecessary words. Two, I was talking to him about one of his jokes, and I said, that joke didn't just happen. A lot of times comics will write a joke in their head and they do it on stage and it works. But a lot of times they build the joke. And I go, that came from like two jokes that you morphed together, didn't it? And he's like, yeah, how'd you know? It's like, because I have a joke like that where I've morphed two other jokes. He's like, it was originally like this, and then this happened. And I was like, oh, that'll work with this. And so it's like a collaboration. Like the joke doesn't just, like you'll hear musicians sometimes say, I sat down and I wrote the joke. Like it just came out of me. I wrote the song. And then there's guys that are like, oh, we went to work on that song, and you'll hear the song, you'll hear the initial song, and then you hear it like, oh my God, they had totally different lyrics in here. Mm-hmm. And they threw those out and they put these new lyrics in, like a producer was involved. A lot of times a comedian will say to me, change this, change that. Like they see my joke and they'll go, oh, don't do that, change that. And I'm like, oh, that's true, that's a good idea. I'll take that out and I'll put this in. Comics usually ask each other, like, you want a tag, or do you mind if I give you some advice on that joke and help you with it? And they're like, I always say yes, I like it. Some people I'm not going to name the name, but he's a very famous comic. Maybe one of the most famous in the world, if not. And I text him after a show, and I was like, you should say blah, blah, blah after that. And he didn't write back. And I was like, I think I overstepped.
What? So I've spoken to you a little bit about this, but you're
I'll
right.
tell you the joke. I'll tell you the joke.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So if you ever see it, I'm not going to name the comic, but he was mentioning how he was in the Epstein files. And it was basically his friend did a Google search and found out that he was in the Epstein files. And it was a girl had sent a clip of him to Epstein. And she was like, hey, this is the guy I told you about. He's really funny. We should go see him. And he goes, Epstein didn't respond. And that was like the end of his joke. And I was like, no, the joke is that you're upset that you got rejected by Epstein. And you're like, everybody's like, he should have died. And you're like, yeah, but I never got to find out why he didn't like me.
We'll look for that. We'll look for the Epstein joke. So what's you've spoken a little bit about it, but to me, you go on stage to write your material.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you're working on in the moment that this past weekend you were working on? Or you in the?
Yeah, I'll tell you how jokes come together. I have a joke about pickleball, and sometimes the jokes grow on stage. And I have a joke about the Paralympics. I do a whole joke about the Paralympics, about how there's no consistency in the classifications. Like it's not fair. Like people talk about fairness. And I have a joke about transgenders in sports, and they're 3 separate jokes, and they've all actually morphed together. So the joke about transgenders in sports and it not being fair, I used to talk about Leah Thompson, or Leah Thomas, I'm sorry, who, was the girl that the trans girl that beat everyone, and she was like a foot taller than everyone, and I used to have a joke about how she won because she was a swimmer and she had a rudder, and so I had this bit about her. Then I had this bit about the Paralympics and about how, like sometimes these people are really athletic and really good and really qualified and can do stuff better than able-bodied people. But every once in a while you see one, you're like, come on, this is just inclusivity. Like you see a guy without arms and legs and they like stick him in the bobsled and you're like, now you're just luggage. Like this isn't. And so I've been working on this Paralympics bit about like how it's not fair to the classifications, because like, you'll see a guy without arms playing volleyball against a guy that's like slightly autistic. And you're like, this is not fair. This guy's 6'4". He's just like spiking the ball off the guy's head. Commentators being really PC. And he's like, oh, he's using his whole face. And so then I have this other totally separate joke about pickleball. And I started talking on stage about how the bit was about how everybody playing pickleball looked like people rejected from a swingers convention. Like they were like, the bouncer was like, not you, you can't come in. There's a pickleball court down the street. And I talked about how I started talking about how everybody that plays pickleball is injured. I had a hip replacement and I thought I wasn't going to do anything again. And then there's pickleball. And I go, everybody's either injured or is going to get injured. Like that's the whole, it's like before and after. Like you're just looking at somebody who's either got an artificial hip or is getting one. And so then I heard how they're going to have pickleball in the Olympics. And so I'm on stage and I'm like, it shouldn't be in the Olympics. It should be in the Paralympics. And I was like, because everybody there has like an artificial body part, like everybody. And so I'm like, and then I was like, oh, then I brought in the fairness thing from the transgender thing into like the fairness of the Paralympics, how it's not fair because one guy has one arm and one guy has no arms and they have all these classifications. And so it was, that's how I write on stage, and I like morph them all together. And finally, what'll suck is I've got to get rid of 2 of the 3 of them, and it'll all become one shorter bit, but it'll be way better. And it's like, it sucks because I'm like, I had to throw out like 2 great jokes because they're now part of one better joke.
Right, but you're leveling up that one joke as a whole, right?
Yeah.
That's okay. That's
But
like
sometimes quantity of material, like it's fun for us to just a bunch of jokes, but then you're like, no, you got to whittle down. You got to whittle down. You got to make them the best. And
that's the
Well, because
hard.
it's ultimately like how you build a special, right?
yeah.
That,
And you're like, what's better, one amazing joke or three average jokes? And so, it happens.
but you ever think about getting rid of one and then like I can make this better and like actually bring it back?
Yeah, well, that's what happens. It'll get worked out for the set, for the set. And then other shows, once you create the set and do the set, you're like, oh, I'm going to bring it back the way I was doing it before because I'm just going to do all three of those, because I'm doing a show at Affiliate Con.
You could test
They
out.
won't know they won't know the difference.
There'll be a bunch of drunk CrossFitters. What do you?
Yeah.
How do you balance stand up and health?
Whew. It's funny. I was like the first guy doing it, and now they're all like this.
Tim's
They're
like that
all
all the
like
time. Jay's like, I came up with Murph. Jay has all these like I did it first, and I'm waiting for the receipts.
Well, I'm not the
They
only.
ain't coming. Jay, I can tell you they're not coming.
Yeah.
No one. No, I've learned by life. No one gives you credit, especially when unless you're like, even Trump. I mean, you just have to say it enough times that people will believe it. Because I keep watching people. I love watching how many people say they have the world record of Murph.
Yeah.
And forever I wanted to do a Murph competition, and bring in all these guys that say they've got the world record. Because, we watched Hunter McIntyre for like a year train for it and do it. Did you ever see him when he did it? Do you remember the guy beating him that was going against him?
I think I
So
remember.
he had a it was one of the funniest things in the world. Hunter trained for this for like a year.
I remember this time. It was actually he was living. I went to his house and worked out with him a couple times.
Oh, in Colorado, yeah, because he was in Boulder.
Yeah.
I was laughing at him all the time because I'm like, oh, this seems like a worthwhile endeavor to waste a year of your life. And a buddy of his did it with him. They went to North Carolina. It was during COVID. North Carolina still doesn't know COVID happened. And so they did it at some gym. And his buddy, who was like a high roxer with him, I'm watching it, and his buddy starts going past him. And I'm like, oh my God, this guy's beating Hunter. He's going to blow up. And the next thing you know, he beats Hunter by like 2 minutes. And I'm like, oh my, and I was watching Hunter the whole time. I'm like, but Hunter doesn't have the record. This guy beat Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
But the cameras were all focused on Hunter. So after it's all over, I go back and watch it. And I start watching his buddy, and his buddy's doing push-ups like this. And his pull-ups, he's like to here. And his squat, and I'm like, this guy just no-repped everything. Not just like he had like 10 no reps. He had no reps. And I'm watching going, it had to be demoralizing for Hunter because he's like worked, and all of a sudden this guy like runs past him on the last mile. And I'm like, or is like way ahead of him. Like Hunter must like want to kill himself. And that his buddy's just crushing him. And so his friend's like, yeah, like I'm the winner. I'm the world record holder. And everybody's like, no, not even close.
It's good to have that rabbit there, just to chase. So it is hard, right? Because you're just up late. I assume you sleep in. I mean, now you've got a family and all, but
back to the health thing. Sorry, I go on tangents. What happened was I was partying a lot in New York, like crazy, up every night, doing seven shows a night. There's alcohol at everyone. It's free. There's girls everywhere. And, people used to talk about like rock stars. There was a period where comedians had, before Louis C.K. ruined it for everyone, there was a period when It was because rock stars get on a bus and leave right after the gig. Comedians stay.
Yeah.
And so it was really fun. I was, in my 30s and late 20s, early 30s, and I was just like, I was crushing it. And I was having the best time, but I was also waking up and having to go to auditions on 3 hours sleep and going out and doing it all again at night. And I had a radio show, and I was dying. And I was like, just, and I had come from an athletic background, so I was always kind of trying to stay in shape. And even before CrossFit, I was doing like Navy SEAL workouts. My cousin was a Navy SEAL, and he was the one that showed me CrossFit.com, because I was going to SealFit.com first.
Oh yeah.
But I finally said at one point, I'm like, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of New York. I'm going to die. So I moved to LA and started getting up with the crack of dawn and going surfing and eating well, and so I was like ahead of the game and got into CrossFit. And I don't know if you guys know Kenny Kane. Kenny Kane owns Oak Park Fitness, which used to be CrossFit LA.
Okay, that is familiar.
Kenny was a comedian, and he was also CrossFit owner. And Kenny brought me to my first CrossFit gym, Paradiso CrossFit.
Oh, you went to Paradiso. Do you know Joshy G?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So he was there a little bit like at the end of my going to CrossFit gym. I put a gym in my house, but and I had moved to Malibu, so I was kind of out of there when Josh G started. But
right. I saw him briefly this weekend. Yeah.
Oh, he was there?
Yeah.
Is he still announcing?
Yeah, I did. He was actually sitting in Chipotle, and I was like walking down to go back to the hotel, and I was like, that was the only time I saw him. But yeah, he must have been there announcing.
They had asked me to do announcing, and I was like, guys, you're going to have complaints. Like, I'm not meant for this.
Yeah.
So anyway, long story short, comedians started dying left and right. Like, we lost a lot of comedians. Greg Giraldo, Mitch Hedberg, Patrice O'Neill. And guys were dying from like drug abuse and depression and suicides. And it went from like, there's a famous table at the Comedy Cellar in New York, which I would still go back to all the time. And I'd do, fly back to New York all the time and perform. And we used to sit and talk jokes, drugs, and alcohol and girls. And I get back there, and everybody's talking about like broccoli and omega-3 fatty acids. And I'm like, what is happening? I'm like, everybody's changing. And now you go back there, and I mean, we all used to just be drunk at the table, and no one drinks anymore. It's just like so few people drink there. And, everybody's constant, like everybody's like, hey, what kind of oils do you cook this chicken in? And I'm just listening. Comics are nerds and usually pretty intelligent. And so they nerd out on it. But I was kind of ahead of the game, so they all started asking me questions. They were like, what should and I want to do this. And now they're all experts. And, I try to say something, and you don't know what you're talking about.
But there's people like Joe Rogan who have an entire podcast, and he's a health expert on top of a political expert and
If you listen to I think it was episode 77 was my first time on Joe Rogan, and I introduced him to grass-fed beef.
I feel like we should lean on that more.
Yeah, I'm the guy. So
it was really funny because I listen to him talk now, and I'm like,
little shout out. But even now, like with travel, like you said, you're going to be in, say, Aspen Vale, then you go home. Is it hard for you to get back into the swing? You got young kids.
Yeah, I think I could, like, I'm no expert in anything, but I think I could teach, like, if I could do anything, I could teach people kind of how to do the road and try to be healthy, or just like my little tricks of the trade. A lot of like, it's really hard to be healthy, really, really hard. And a lot of times it's just like a lot of core powers, like I'll go, which aren't too healthy, but that's like my default. I'll go somewhere and I'm like, I mean, there's cities like that I go to that they, their staple is Monster Energy drink and Flaming Hot Cheetos. And I'll be like driving around going, or door dashing and going, where am I going to find any? And sometimes my meals are really good and amazing, like I'll be at this like farm to table restaurant where I'm having like the greatest salad in the world with grass-fed steak on top. And then there's other times where I'm eating like Wendy's chili and a salad from Wendy, and that's the healthiest thing in town. So we did a thing on Wadcast about best choice options or whatever it was, and I ate McDonald's for a month. And 1 month, all I did was eat McDonald's, and I lost 11 pounds. I gained 3 pounds of muscle. All my blood panels were like perfect, like better. My C-reactive protein was down. My LDL was down. It was amazing. And everybody's like, "Wait, you did that eating McDonald's?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I ate meat all day long. I pretty much was on a carnivore diet."
Yeah, you probably, because you're like in this bubble of only McDonald's, you're making like super healthy choices, knowing versus like you have the world at your choice, right?
It wasn't super healthy because I was eating McDonald's every single meal.
But you're picking the healthiest options at McDonald's.
Yeah. I mean, I went in the first day and I thought, I'm going to get a salad, the McDonald's salad. I'm going to get some fruit. So I go in there like, yeah, we don't do salads anymore. And I was like, oh God, I'm going to die. I'm like, day one. And I'm like, you don't at this McDonald's? They're like, no, at no McDonald's. And I was like, they're like, we got rid of it. Nobody was ordering it. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm like, all right, can I get some apples? The apples come without the skin on them. I'm like, okay, this is out. And so it ended up being, I mean, it was like I would eat quarter pounders all day long, just the beef. And every once in a while I'd have a fillet of fish, which was disgusting. And I'd have a lot of chicken nuggets because they didn't have a grilled chicken. They got rid of the grilled chicken.
Pre-Chick-fil-A.
And every once in a while before a workout, I would eat like some French fries and like a small fry. But I was definitely in caloric deficit. And I also, I was eating the smoothie. The first week I was doing their smoothie like every meal. And I was working with a nutritionist named Dylan Farr, and Mike Anderson, who owns CrossFit Malibu, was in on it. And he, was a teacher at Pepperdine, and like these guys were overseeing kind of the whole program. And the first week I gained like 5 pounds, and they're like, you can't keep drinking these smoothies. And I was drinking like I'm like, there's strawberries and bananas in it. They're like, yeah, like 50 bananas in it. And so it just basically came down to like, I would have 2 sausage McMuffins every morning with egg and take the bread off. So I was eating 2 sausage patties, 2 eggs. And that was breakfast. And then lunch would be 2 beef patties. And then dinner would be the same thing. And then in between, I would have like chicken nuggets as snacks. And so it was like, we thought I was going to die. I was like, sure, I was going to be like peeing brown, like something was going to like definitely go off. And to my surprise, I got healthier.
There you go. McDonald's made you healthier. Well, we'll let you go. We're going to see you in Dallas, Texas, Affiliate Con. If anyone's listening and you're in Cincinnati, Ohio this weekend, go out and see Eddie. And I would love, it sounds like it'll be after Affiliate Con when you come to Colorado. You probably do all the ski resorts in the peak time.
Yeah. It starts in December, mid-December. It's called the Last Chair Tour. And, because the first chair is all the like hardcore dudes get up at 6 a.m. to get the first chair. Yeah. I'm on the last chair with the people who sat at the lodge and drank and are going to risk their ACL on the way down.
Do you bring your family to any?
I always do. I take my family a lot. And my wife, whenever I'm in like Aspen or Bali or Australia, my wife makes sure she's on those trips. But she won't be in Cincinnati this week.
Well, yeah, I'd love to come meet you while you're out there in
yeah, I'd love to have you. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
for those of you that are coming to AffiliateCon Saturday night, the day ends.
I'm gonna smoke it. It's gonna be the best show I've ever done.
Best show, and I will be
Ever.
there. I will be.
I've done a couple shows at CrossFit gyms, and it's really fun because I know they're surprised that I know what I know, and I start like throwing in jokes about kettlebells or something, and they're like, "What? How does he know? How does he know this stuff?"
Well,
and they can't believe that the two connect.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be a great palate cleanser after Jay opens up for you.
No, I've been watching him. He's going to kill it.
I'm trying. Tonight I have class tonight. I got to stressful.
In fact, he's going to do so well that he's going to get delusions of grandeur.
Oh, I've got them already.
Oh, that's for sure going to happen. I mean, I want you to do bad, Jay, because I'm just thinking it's going to be so funny for me. It'll be funnier for me if you do bad, but we've seen you on stage before. Like you're going to do good. The problem is, Eddie, when he comes back, he's going to be like, I gotta go do more.
I'm done with this best hour nonsense.
I'm moving to New York. I'm going to take Greyhound buses to Maysville, Kentucky.
I'm going to Cincinnati.
The problem isn't that you'll be done with Best Hour, Jay. The problem is you'll want to drag us along with you. If you were done, that wouldn't be a problem. You're like, you're all coming along with me. We're doing Best Hour comedy.
Best Hour comedy.
He'll be calling me. He's like, what do you think?
It's my new special, Best Hour. So
those are the guys that make it.
It's so much fun. It's so hard. It is so hard to get good at this. And, I said to Fern this weekend when I saw him at we hung out a lot, and he's like, I do think you're getting better. And I was like, oh, that's really for Fern, that's a great compliment. And I was like, it's like anything. Like if you put the time in, you're going to get better. It's hard. It's a very hard skill. It's
if I can, I know you guys got to go. I just want to tell you a funny story. A friend of mine's an open micer. He's a really funny guy, and he's big on the internet. That's like a surf kind of comedian, but he wants to be a comedian, so he does open mics. And I said, "How did it go last night?" He did one last night, or 2 nights ago. And I was just talking to him yesterday, and he's like, "I thought it went well until the girl that booked it told me what I did was hate speech."
Oh yeah, there's a lot of that. This is one, we appreciate you coming on, but two,
it was fun. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate the help you've given me so far and look forward to more. And I'm really excited. It was just a weird epiphany that I had. I was like, we should have a comedian at AffiliateCon, and I looked at my phone and your number was there, and I was like, I don't know. I was like, let's do it. And it's so cool.
It's funny. This is kind of my thing. I feel like I do like the Surfer Pole Awards for like the Surf Awards show, and I do the GoPro games, and I kind of like these things better. The comedy clubs are fun, and I've just done them for 29 years. But like a lot of comics don't like corporates; they hate them. I actually enjoy them, and it's just I don't know. I have like kind of a very generalized knowledge and no specific knowledge, so I know a little bit about everything. And so when I get into like a group, they're always like, "Wow, how does this guy know our world?"
Yeah.
And I love like bringing the two together. So it's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be great. Well, thank you so much, Eddie. It's been great to have you, and we'll chat soon.
All right, see you guys.
Thanks for checking out this episode of the Best Hour of Their Day podcast. We appreciate you listening and choosing to have us help you in your passion for coaching and affiliate ownership. You can find more episodes just like this on all podcast platforms. If you're interested in learning more, you can reach out to us on any social media platforms, or you can visit www.besthouroftheirday.com to book a call. If you found this episode helpful for you, please share it so that we can help other coaches and affiliate owners to help build a bigger and stronger CrossFit community. Thanks for listening.